Many times when you talk late model action here at Lucas Oil Speedway, you think of the Lucas Oil late models, you think of the MLRA, and our limited late models sometimes get overlooked. That's why this is on the schedule, to be able to give them their time to shine and to run for some extra money. The way the starting grid will shape up for our 40-lap main, $4,000 to win. Johnny Finewald came so close last night to picking up the victory, was unable to do it after he got caught in lap traffic, and now the Appleton City, Missouri native, passed more cars than anybody else, earns him P1 for the start. A multiple-time champ here at Lucas Oil Speedway, but Jace Parmalee, he has been the hot shoe this season out of Neosho, Missouri, starting outside of him in second.
Row number 2, it's going to be Joe Walking Horse, the Elkton, Missouri, number 90, and on the outside, man, coming home in second in the 2023 points. Marshall, Missouri's 1A, that's Brian Allison.
J.C. Morton picked up his first late model win here at Lucas Oil Speedway on Thursday Night Thunder. He starts inside row number 3 with the Silver Fox, Tommy Cordray, to his outside.
The youngster, Tucker Cox, the Jeff City kid, the 1D from Jeff City, Missouri, and Francisco Escamilla, the Niagara, Missouri, number 73.
Justin Wells, a 10-time winner during the regular season. He won night 1 of the Fall Brawl, starting inside row number 5, and on his outside is Sean Whitman from Fairgrove in the 13.
The 81, Boonville, Missouri's Jimmy Dow on the inside. Kyle Graves, Fulton, Missouri, the 14 on the outside.
Jake Morris to start P13, and 14th, Larry Jones out of El Dorado Springs, Missouri in the 99.
Row number 8 is going to be Josh Newman, Fulton, Missouri in the 40 car. And Darren Phillips having tough luck, but he's looking to bounce back from Wheatland, Missouri, the 21P.
Bob Cummings will start inside row 9, Jim Greenway to his outside, and then Bobby Ruff rounding out the field of 19 starters. As they go down the backstretch through turns 3 and 4, since this is a special show for them, you see the Lucas Oil late models do it. You see the MLRA do it. Well, the Hermitage Lumber late models can do it too. They go 4 wide. In a salute to the fans, we had fireworks planned for you. As this was supposed to be a night show, we aren't going to deny our fans, making sure they continue to see the fireworks, just may not be as bright as normal. Sean Hodder Fireworks and AM Pyrotechnics in the house, setting off the fireworks and flares from the infield. After a little bit of track work was done, you can see they tilled it up after that last vintage race. With the sunlight the way it is, the wind, and we've had some pretty blustery winds so far, it really has dried the track out. So they will go in, they'll rework it, and they will hopefully get it back to where it's racy from lap number 1. As 40 laps, going to be a lot of laps put on the track by these late models.
So as they come around and going back to that 2 wide in your regular set, that's going to be putting Johnny Finewald, the Appleton City, Missouri, number 21, the Flash, on the front row, along with Jace Parmalee, the Neosho, Missouri, number 82. They will set the pace as they bring them around. Pace truck is out front.
So again, State Tech College helping to put up some extra money for this event, and State Tech, one of the sponsors on Tucker Cox, number 1T out of Jefferson City. Starting back in row number 4 to the inside, right behind him is the track champion Justin Wells. Doug, will be very difficult for anybody to contend with Johnny Finewald. We saw last night Jimmy Dowell had a great shot at it. Led the opening few laps. Hit a right over in turn 1 and 2, bounced out of the lane, and Johnny Finewald grabbed the lead from him. Later gave it back to Justin Wells, who ended up picking up the win. You can't look past Justin Wells, even though he is starting well deep in the field. Only passed a handful of cars during his heat race, but Wells will start inside row number 5 back in 9th as they're stacked and packed. The Hermitage Lumber late models finally able to take center stage. $4,000 to win. Special thanks to State Tech College for putting up the extra money. Jace Parmalee to the outside. Side by side through 3 and 4. Pressed down on the loud pedal. Underway at Lucas Oil Speedway.
Finewald did not waste any time as he took off out of turn 2. He set the point. He is going to lead lap number 1. Parley in that second spot. It is the 1A of Brian Allison in third as they come across, but it is Finewald set sail here tonight You talked about Wells. He is moving himself up through the field. Don't forget the 72. Also, as you see him there, that is J.C. Morton with the race on with the 5 of Cordray.
Johnny Finewald has gotten past Jace Parmalee. Now Joe Walkenhorst looking to the inside of Brian Allison. Allison was second in the points. You see the for sale sign on the side of the 1A. Whenever he ended up the regular season, that for sale sign was on the side of that car. He brought it back out for one of the late MLRA shows, took the for sale sign off and ran pretty darn good with it. Now it's back on, so if you want a turnkey late model to run across the Midwest or anywhere for that matter, give Brian Allison a call. I'm sure he's got a price that's probably a little negotiable. Might be able to lower it a little bit, but if he's running this well in top 5 action on a show like today, I think it's well worth the money.
Knowing Brian, he'd probably come to the track and help you set it up too. So it is still Johnny Fenwell out front, but the battle now, you talk about the 1A of Brian Allison, 3 wide. It is in Tucker Cox, the 98 of Justin Wells, all involved in that as they get around Bob Cummings over the back straight.
You have to make sure you navigate lap traffic well. Tucker Cox has gotten around Brian Allison. So Finewald and Parmalee, your top 2, side by side, deeper in the field. This is a battle for 3rd. J.C. Morton to the inside. The Moon Brothers Racing 72 picked up his first late model win. He was a track champion, J.C. Morton. That was in a B mod at Arrowhead, a track that was taken over by our good friend Bryce Hall over in Oklahoma. Did a great job running that track this season, brought in some big events, and J.C. capitalized with the B mod championship. Came close to winning it here at Lucas Oil Speedway. Came up just a couple of positions short, but he's running in 3rd right now. He has gotten around Joe Walkenhorst. Tucker Cox now has done the same thing. The State Tech 1T has gotten by Joe Diffie, and Cox will move up to 4th.
As they roll through here, coming around J.C. Morton, you've seen that car go past. It is Walkenhorst now. He has got the 98 of Justin Wells right by his side. Wells on the low side. It is Walkenhorst on the high side. Wells cannot get around so far, looking to make that spot for the 5th spot as they come around. He has got Tucker Cox in front of him, but it is a battle for 5th between Walkenhorst and the 90 and the 98 of Wells.
Have to think for a number of these drivers that run here on a weekly basis, we run 20-lap features, sometimes stretch it out to 25. You've got 2 things playing into it now as they look to the inside and the outside of Bob Cummings. Not only do you have the extra laps jumping up from 20 or 25 up to 40, but you're in sunlight. You're used to running later in the evening under the stars instead of under that glowing ball of flame up in the sky as the Boone's Barbecue caution will come out. Johnny Finewald is your race leader. But looks like over in turn number 4, Joe Walkenhorst, who had just fallen out of the top 5, may have made contact with the wall, and it brings out the Boone's Barbecue caution. Here you see Joe Diffie. Right side of that car is all scraped up, and a flat right rear, it looks like, may be the culprit of that for Joe Walkenhorst. Extra laps and sunlight playing into it. Who can conserve tires the best and find speed late in a run? Johnny Finewald's had a speed early on. A 2.2 second lead wiped out. Jace Parmalee running in 2nd. We'll get back to racing action after this as you are watching Night of Speed. It is Fall Brawl from Lucas Oil Speedway on MAV TV. Johnny Finewald has led throughout after starting on the pole. You see him stacking up side by side. The Delaware double file restart behind your race leader. Jace Parmalee was running in 2nd, so he chooses to go to the outside. right before that caution came out, back in my mind, I was thinking for Justin Wells, who we've known to have one of the fastest cars out, he really needed a caution because he was probably, as I do some math here, a good 14 seconds behind Johnny Fenewald. Now he's only 2 car lengths behind him. He's going to line up outside row number 3. Johnny Fenewald dives into 4. Green flag back in the air. We're getting it on again at Lucas Oil Speedway for the late models.
It is Johnny Fenewald. Fenewald, the 21, jumps out to that lead, but a battle for second. 3 cars involved in it as they come around the 72 of J.C. Morton, the 98 of Justin Wells, and Jace Parmalee in the 82 car, all battling for that second spot. We just talked about Wells moving himself through the field. He has so far all the way up to third, looking for second this time, Shane.
Justin Wells to the inside of Morton. Started deep in the field. Wells was back in P9 to get things started. He is up to third right now to the inside of J.C. Morton. He will go, so now he's up into second. Give kudos to Jace Parmalee throughout the season, not necessarily today, but he has gotten a lot of recognition from some of the hot shoes, including Justin Wells, a good young talent that is starting to find his way in this late model division. He's ran an open late model whenever the Lucas Oil late models came in, had a good showing that weekend as well. So a man that is really starting to develop as a driver is Jace Parmalee as he is back in third. Johnny Fenewald still leads, 15 laps in, starting to wind down, only a handful of laps before we get to the midway point. 20 laps will be the midway as Tommy Cordray now is up into the top 5. Tommy had a tough go of it last night, had some issues, had to call it a night early, actually left the car here in the tech barn last night as it was a long way home to Browning for him. And the Tom's Collision Repair number 5 looks to the inside of J.C. Morton as we have now completed 17.
Cordray and Morton battling for that 4th spot as they roll through. Morton, the 72, young man who has been really well in modifieds and B-mods, moving up into this late model series for the past year now, has done an excellent job in that, making a little contact. He and former track champion Tommy Cordray and that 5 car getting together.
Yeah, had to go to the inside of Bob Cummings to get around lap traffic, so no worse for the wear as far as the sheet metal bending goes. J.C. Morton and Tommy Cordray both keep it straight, and we have almost reached the midway point, and Johnny Fenewald has stretched the lead out to Justin Wells by 1.8 seconds. Take you back to last night, whenever Jimmy Dow was leading throughout the early portion of the race on a restart. Jumped a rut over in turn 2, shot up the track. Johnny Fenewald and Justin Wells both took advantage, being able to pass him and jump up to first and second. Johnny Fenewald was in commanding lead as they were working through lap traffic. One lapped car ran with the leaders for a couple laps, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. You're still racing your race also. You're holding your line. It's still up to the leaders to time it out and get around you. Johnny Fenewald had a tough time doing that, got caught up with the lap traffic. Justin Wells got past him and then cruised to a 3.5 second lead. So Johnny Fenewald, you have to think, is keeping that in mind. He's got that 2 second lead over Justin Wells right now, and they're starting to get up into that lap traffic, and he's hoping that he doesn't have a repeat from last night.
Absolutely, and of course, Justin Wells knows his way around racetracks. He is, of course, an Ozark Racers Hall of Famer for the racing venues. Done an excellent job. He is our 2023 champion in the late models. Knows his way around here. Tough competition no matter what, but so is Johnny Fenewald. And most of these drivers can hold their own in race cars. And
you saw Tommy Cordray there. He was a past champion here at Lucas Oil Speedway, won 2 championships here, as well as 3 over at I-35. J.C. Morton, he is a champion in his own right, but in a different class. For J.C., he was a national champion in 2016 for the USRA B-Mods. He was also a 2-time champion here at Lucas Oil Speedway in that same B-Mod class. He still runs that B mod and runs it extremely well as Johnny Finewald knifes through that lap traffic, continues to pull away, but the lead has shrunk as Justin Wells has gotten it down to 0.6 seconds, and there's still plenty of laps left. Hoping to not repeat what happened last night is Johnny Finewald between 2 lap cars, Escamilla to the inside, the 13 of Whitman to the outside, and that gets him a little more breathing room ahead of Justin Wells as it's back out to a second.
Yeah, as they roll through now, it is Wells shooting the gap between the two, the 13 and 73. He now has nothing between him and Johnny Finewald, closing the gap fast as it's coming up on 11 laps to go this time around.
We talk about the heat of the day under the sunlight, how this track is drying up, and we talk about the extra laps. We are already well past what these Hermitage Lumber late models would do on a nightly basis. Now with 10 to go, Justin Wells has caught up with Johnny Finewald, and he is going to make short work of the Flash as J-Dub gets to the inside, has to hold off for at least one more lap. Johnny Finewald knows the inside is where Justin Wells wants to go, so he will close down on the inside. So Justin Wells now looks to the outside. It doesn't matter where Johnny Finewald goes unless he goes into the left rear quarter panel and takes both cars out. Justin Wells was making a pass to the outside. Johnny Finewald gets into him, and the car first and second both end up taking each other out. We'll take another look at it as some folks start to get into the action that shouldn't be in it. Justin Wells to the outside. We see Johnny Finewald to the inside. Up the track he goes, and hard contact takes both cars out. So last night, Justin Wells was able to make a pass late to take the win away from Johnny Finewald. Tonight, they both get involved in an incident. Over in turn number 2, Wells was starting to look to the inside, goes to the outside, and hard contact, and they are both out of the equation. So Justin Wells, lots of damage. We'll take another look at what happened over in turn number 2.
Not heavy damage in that.
Well, it was a pretty hard hit. I tell you what, we'll take a look at this when we come back. Let's step aside real quick as you are watching Fall Brawl night number 2 from Lucas Oil Speedway. So 30 laps in, 10 laps to go from Lucas Oil Speedway. Another look at what happened. This is going to be over in turns number 3 and 4 coming down the front stretch. Wells goes to the outside. He had tried his hand to the inside, but then in turns 1 and 2, Johnny Finewald down on the track. Justin Wells was making the pass, and then Finewald's car just shoots up the track. And both cars KO'd as they were running 1-2, and the big benefactor in this is Jace Parmalee. He was running in 3rd, Tommy Cordray 4th, Tucker Cox 5th, so they will now jump up 1, 2, 3.
Parmalee doing an excellent job out there. We talked about the youngster being fast. Well, he is, and he's showing why, but he has got the veteran behind him. That is Tommy Cordray. Cordray, the 5. From Browning, Missouri, the former track champion right here. And the youngster, you go from the veteran of Cordray, right behind him, Tucker Cox, the Jeff City kid. And, man, you talk about 2 extremes, and J.C. Morton in that 4th spot.
So Johnny Finewald on the hook. And back to the pit he goes. And now Jace Parmalee has P1. Could be a breakthrough night for the youngster with 1 lap to go. Tucker Cox was running in 5th time. Now he's up to 3rd. Tommy Cordray chooses to go to the outside, so that's how they stack up back in row number 2. And while I am good friends with both Johnny Finewald and Justin Wells, mean no disrespect whenever I say this right now, gonna have a new winner tonight with the exception of maybe J.C. Morton back in 4th. Maybe a nice little touch to finish the season for these Hermitage Lumber late models with a car winning for the very first time here at Lucas Oil Speedway. And Jace Parmalee stretches his legs out ahead of Tucker Cox, and Tommy Cordray drops back to 3rd.
Yeah, as they come out of turn number 4, it is going to be Parmalee. And here comes Cordray. Cordray looks to the outside. Tucker Cox goes to the inside. The young man from Jeff City, Missouri, in that 1 car. Now in a battle with the veteran, the Silver Fox, the 5 of Tommy Cordray.
So a good gap from Jace Parmalee back to Tucker Cox. Cox and Cordray stay nice and tight. And then another gap to Brian Allison, who's back in 4th. And J.C. Morton loses a position. This time the 99 of Larry Jones will get around him. So the top 5 cars running right now have yet to win at Lucas Oil Speedway this season. 7 more laps and we'll have a first-time winner. And Jace Parmalee, something breaks on the 82, hand out the window. His night is done. What a soap opera we have here on night 2 of the Fall Brawl. Heartbreak City for Jace Parmalee. And how about Tucker Cox? With 6 to go, he will jump up to the top spot, and the Boone's Barbecue caution will come out. As the Hobby Time Motorsport safety crew looks like a drive shaft over in turn number 4. Yep, no wonder Jace Parmalee had some issues. He's got no giddy up. When the drive shaft falls out, his night goes to a screeching halt, and that sign on the back fin says it all. No brakes. He usually means that's because he's going fast, but tonight he got no brake at all. His car crumpled into the infield, his night done. And Tucker Cox, can it now be his night? He's got 6 laps left to see if he can win here at Lucas Oil Speedway. We're going to step aside a 6-lap shootout for a big payday here at the Diamond of Dirt tracks. So Tucker Cox, the Capital Kid, leads the way, sponsored by State Tech College, your presenting sponsor of the Fall Brawl, putting up extra money, $4,000 to win in our main event. He will have 6 laps left to see if he can do it. What a storyline this would be for Tucker Cox. Finished 6th in the point standings. Finished 2nd this year, the best finish he had at Lucas Oil Speedway. Go back to early in the season as we get ready for the restart with Tommy Cordray and Brian Allison back in row number 2. Green is in the air, and the jailbreak is on. Tucker Cox by 3 car lengths ahead of Tommy Cordray. Back in April, Tucker Cox won his only race of the season at Callaway on April 14th. The very next night, he comes to Lucas Oil Speedway. A car breaks in front of him and takes a hard left-hand turn, and now another incident, and this is over in turn number 2 as Sean Whitman in the 13 was broken last night. Mr. Mojo involved in another incident, this time Kyle Graves comes in. He gets collected, so another spin brings out the caution. We got one more lap in, so now 5 laps left. Put a bow on the last comment about Tucker Cox, your current race leader. After winning early in the year at Callaway, the next night he comes out here, car breaks in front of him, he T-bones him and breaks his foot. Tucker Cox had to take 6 or 7 weeks off, did not race at all. Comes back, has a good strong showing in the next few weeks here at Lucas Oil Speedway, and now the season ender could be his time to pick up the first win at the Diamond and Dirt Tracks. He won here last year, picking up a win, won also in 2020. But it's been a long time, and this would be oh so sweet if the Capital Kid, Tucker Cox, could pick up a win again at Lucas Oil Speedway. Danny Lorton's up in the booth here as well, general manager. Reason we did this event is to recognize the drivers that have been faithful to Lucas Oil Speedway all season long. In order to qualify for this weekend, you had to run 4 events. You had to be here enough times to make your way in and earn the extra money on the final 2 nights. The 20 drivers that showed up all met that requirement. A couple of them unable to make their way to tonight's event after breaking last night. And then where you think 2 of the hot shoes, and Justin Wells and Johnny Finewald, going to be the 2 that come away with the victory tonight. They end up in an accident late in the race, opens the door for Tucker Cox and Tommy Cordray and Larry Jones and Brian Allison. An opportunity for them to win on the biggest stage. One more time around before the green flies for Tucker Cox, and he'll have to hold off Tommy Cordray and Larry Jones for 5 laps. Tommy Cordray, 2 championships here at Lucas Oil Speedway. He's won 3 over at I-35, a 2-time winner this year, sits back in second. Cordray's won twice. Tucker Cox is trying to win for the 2nd time this year. Cordray to the outside. Doesn't quite get the start that he did on the lap before for Tucker Cox, and Cordray's there. To the outside he goes down the front stretch. 4 laps left, and Cordray will not go away. He takes the lead. Can Tucker Cox grab the spot back? Side by side with 3 to go. Cordray hard into 1 and 2. Cox a little bit sideways. He stays on the gas. Wheel to wheel down the backstretch. Cox back out in front, and Larry Jones is there. Don't count out the veteran. The 99 of Larry Jones is in the picture, takes the spot away from Tommy Cordray and Brian Allison. He's back and forth with 1 to go. Maybe just enough for Tucker Cox, a full second ahead of Larry Jones. That equates into 8 car lengths. The Capital Kid, Tucker Cox, a winner last year in 2022, finished 2nd in the points, 6th in the points, but 1st on the pylon tonight. Tucker Cox wins the final race for the late models at Lucas Oil Speedway.